Let me scan it. Let me scan it. G'day all. Mr. G'day. Yes.
G'day all.
Yeah.
Well, hello there.
Mm,
100%.
yes.
I am.
Ya boy. Hey guys.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Mhm. Last Wednesday.
Last Wednesday.
Yeah.
Physically prepared, spiritually
Mhm.
prepared. I hope people could hear me at the beginning. I think they could.
Yeah.
God, fingers
it's-
crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's important to note that last episode we did have a lot of talk from Griffin about how to get raid ready.
Mhm.
Granted, that was based on speculation.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah, that was more like power level raid ready.
power
Because
level.
this I've already seen some questions later. For later, there's two different ways to be raid ready,
Mhm.
and that's power level and then emotionally and teamwork wise. And we'll
Yeah.
probably get into that a bit later.
Yeah.
We
'cause
will.
We've all
We
we've
will.
all played the raid at least up to the final encounter. Who
Yeah.
here has completed the raid?
No, we're up to the final boss on.
Yeah, Nato and
the
I
Xbox
are
side
at
as well.
Callus.
I thought you guys beat Callus. Am I wrong?
Nope.
No.
Okay.
That is a slimmer club of people that you'll actually find.
Really?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm fucking. I guess I'm following just a bunch of jerk offs.
We are.
Yeah.
We are all following a bunch of jerk offs who just do
Yeah.
it all the time.
Yeah. And
And
like
you know who the fuck you are.
we there's definitely like a lot because Cam and I did the raid together. You guys, Alex and Nato did the raid together. So we've got a lot to talk about as far as like things to expect and like I'm sure there are tons and tons of people that have not done it yet and like they're still rolling out guided games, right? So I imagine there will be another plethora of people at the end of the month open to the option of being able to do the raid and maybe we can help set the expectation for y'all as to like what to expect and what it's like. And I don't necessarily want to go through encounter by encounter, just like telling you what you have to do and whatnot, because I don't think that's interesting. And I think there's another place
And also
for that.
Also a bit
It's a bit
spoilery.
spoilery.
Like
Yeah.
you
Go
want
watch
like
YouTube.
there's a
Even though you're
difference
on
between
YouTube.
like going in with a plan and then going in like completely blind as well. Like
Yeah.
you can go in knowing what you need to know and then still not have it spoiled.
Right now, if you want to have it spoiled and you're watching this on youtube.com/irrational passions, there is 15 plus hours of video content on youtube.com/irrational passions of the entire raid up until not finishing the final boss. So
You guys are troopers. Holy cow.
yeah, man. And we'll kind of get into that and talk about our experience. Griffin is not here.
He would tell us how nice it is to beat the boss multiple times in a week.
He's the only one
times,
of us that has finished the raid.
He also is the one of us that has like too much time on his hands.
Yeah.
Like all of us have like proper lives and families and stuff like that.
He's just
Griffin's
alone.
all like Griffin's all like, no, I don't need those things. I have
Mhm.
them, but I don't need them.
He is
I'm too busy
definitely-
running
For
the raid
Gri-
for
for
the
Griff-
fifth time with Greg Miller and Andrea Renee and getting
Yeah.
through it. You know, he's too big for us.
Yeah.
No, that's not true. Griffin, can I take a minute and embarrass Griffin while he's not here?
Please
Please
do.
do. Please do.
I just I think it's so cute because Griffin tweeted at somebody, and he referred to me as that's my co-host, and I'm like, oh, Griffin's so excited to be hosting a
Aw.
podcast with me. He's just so cute.
It's also important to note that during the time when he definitely could have been taunting us or making fun of us, he did nothing but offer support, and both emotional and actual support.
Mhm.
Getting us on, getting us motivated.
Giving us
There's some
suggestions.
giving us suggestions without spoiling things for us. Just being a very good friend and a very good co-host. He's unfortunately he can't be here tonight because his sister, it's her birthday.
Yeah.
And,
And he's
his
wasted
entire family.
currently.
He is so wasted.
8
I
hours
think
ago, he was 15 mimosas in.
That's right.
He's in his grave right now.
He's 15 mimosas into his grave now. So, so we'll have some things to talk about. So let's start it going around the table and telling everybody what's everyone's light.
Okay.
What's everyone currently running? Another kind of like a little update. We're still in the early days of Destiny 2, so I think this stuff is all still really important.
Yep.
And I'm proud of my gear, so.
Yeah.
It's a good frame of reference to know where we're at, how much time we've put in, if we tell our power level and what our gear is like right now.
Yeah, and we can also maybe take a minute reference wasted on Destiny. That could be a check-in every episode. My cat is whining.
It's already. I checked it on Friday.
Gus is whining because he knows I'm here, and he knows that he wants to meet me.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he can wait.
He'll have to wait till November. So
yeah.
Tough shit, Gus.
He misses you so much, though. All right, so Nato, how about you kick us off since you were not here last episode? So what are you running? What character class are you playing?
I run pure hunter, kind of like Griffin as well. I'm thinking about finally getting around to other characters, but I don't know. By the tail end of Destiny 1, I was starting to just focus on the one character. I didn't care about doing the, second characters to bring the gear over and all that jazz that is involved with like superpowering, power leveling and stuff like that. But I'm about 108 hours in, I think, at the moment.
Damn.
And I am 298 power level, I think, at the moment.
Okay. Alex, what are you up to?
So I'm trying to look at my time wasted, but it looks like the site's down. Last I checked, I think I was around, and I can check in a second, but I want to say I was 80 or 90 hours in, maybe more. But I am at 286 light level, still rocking my Dawnblade Warlock. And I've kind of been, my two guns I've been rocking are the Vigilance Wing, which is a pulse rifle, and then just like an offhand auto rifle that I picked up. But really loving the game so far. But yeah, 286, and in a second I can tell you how long I put into it.
And what class are you? I forget.
Warlock.
Got it.
And my Xbox app says I put in 99 hours.
Yeah, I was just about to check that.
Nice.
Can you look at that on the Sony PlayStation at all?
Nope.
No.
Okay.
No,
Didn't think so.
Cameron.
Yes.
Run out our panel here. What's up? What are you at?
I'm actually about to just pull up some of my stuff in the Destiny app. That's not the Destiny app.
That's not how that works. That's a picture of a naked butt.
You're a hunter,
I wish
right?
it was that interesting. Yeah, I'm a hunter. Yes, I am a hunter. I usually run
Very
my
classy.
hunter. So I have two hunters. So if you watch the first episode, Griffin details a good way of how to shortcutting your light grind.
Yeah.
Is to take a second character of the same class as your first one, grinding them all the way through the story till you get to level 16, and then just finishing out the story, auto level to 20, swap weapons and equipment over, and then doing milestones. And I've just been kind of working on that. So
Okay.
I went from having my Awoken hunter to I'm using now an Exo hunter.
Okay.
Awesome.
And I have been working through that process a bit. So what I'm running is because I did that, I have a 299 Mida multi-tool.
Mhm.
Nice.
running with that. I have a 294 Mida mini tool.
Nice.
So I'm using the compound factor on that. And then I have a Sins of the Past rocket launcher at 293. So overall, like in comparison to like my armor, which is I have the Foe Tracer exotic helmet. The rest of my stuff is just, binary Phoenix cloak, your regular kind of a legendary armor set. But I'm currently rocking 292 right now. As far as power level goes.
Cool.
So, because I made a promise that the next time I saw Callus, I was going to pound his face in.
Yeah.
And beat him to death.
So
That's my plan.
I've got news. Cameron doesn't even know this. Because I've been playing.
Mainly because you've been on Invisible.
Yeah.
So people don't know when you're playing.
Because I don't like it when people bother me when I play video games.
That's an accurate statement.
Well, like, it's weird too because like no one I like sends me messages. People are gonna listen to this and be like, "What a total asshole!" No one I like sends me messages on PSN. It's just like messages, just like from random people. One guy actually like who added me as a friend on PSN. I sent him like a real name request, and he sent me a message saying, "Who are you?" And I said, "You added me." And he said, "Oh, but who are you?" And then I deleted him.
Also, there should be a special place in jail for people who don't share their real name.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
As friend of Irrational Passions, Max Roberts, host of Millennial Gaming Speak, found out when I violently deleted him off of my PSN friends list in a video that I published to the internet, and without knowing it was him because I added him like a year ago or whatever.
That's amazing.
And I didn't have his real name, so I got down to fucking Mudkip514 or whatever on my goddamn PSN friends list, and I'm like, this guy's getting deleted for a bit, and it happened, and it honestly couldn't have worked out better. Anyway, I think I'm about 273.
Sweet.
So I'm definitely the runt of the litter. I feel like, and Cam can defend me here, even though I was for sure underpowered during the raid, I could hold my own pretty well.
100%, yeah. Your competency was pretty high.
It's just that final fight you're gonna have trouble being.
That's
80.
Yeah, I think that was probably one of the problems when we were running.
Yeah.
We'll get to it when we talk about the final fight, how we were running it. But I think we probably should have been reversing some of the people who were out in. But we'll get into that later. But yeah, so that's where we're at right now. So 273, 292, and then Alex and Nato are on Xbox, so their power level doesn't really matter.
But I was gonna say I actually started. So I have 3 characters because I had a Titan from Destiny 1 that came over automatically.
Really?
I haven't played him yet in Destiny 2.
My secondary characters didn't come over from Destiny 1. I only had my
they only did it if they were max level.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So.
screw me.
So my hunter.
I had all 3 of mine come over.
My
but
hunter
I
didn't
deleted
come
it.
over from Destiny 1. So I started a new hunter, and
Awesome.
I just
Nice.
Tell us more.
I just finished the story with my hunter.
How's
Nice.
the jump?
It's good. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Metroid Prime. I'm way more used to the other jump.
Yeah.
I like the.
You mean the
Metroid-
float? Yes.
I like the
float.
float. Like
The
like.
float is way more Halo-y.
Yeah, it's very Halo-y.
Yeah.
Say what you will about the float. I like it. I know,
So do
this
I.
is a whole other fucking weird discussion that
It blew up during the raid.
that blew up during the raid, and I think was starting to like drive certain people insane,
Sure.
myself included. But yeah, I never like I got to level 4 as a hunter in Destiny 1. So I never really got the chance to try it out. So I'm just it was fun to play as a different class and feel how different it is. The thing I don't really like about the hunter is like one of their subclass is like fully oriented around like aiming and shooting as their abilities, like the
Gunslinger.
Golden
gunslinger.
gun. Okay.
Yeah, and it's just like I like the warlock because like it is area of effect and a lot of stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
So like
Yeah,
it
but
doesn't
you
really fit my
kind of
playstyle.
spec that with like a scout rifle. If you don't feel confident in the heat of battle, equip that's a good class if you want to stay far away from the battle and use something like a scout rifle, because then you can always get the headshots and then you get bonuses for getting the headshots. And
Yeah,
it's a good class if you want to stay out of battle,
yeah.
as well as if you're
It's good for that.
Exactly.
Also, if you're willing to
battle.
It's also a pretty it's a gambler subclass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with the
Because
Celestial Nighthawk equipped.
Yeah, Slush and Nighthawk equipped, but also its main utility ability is the knife, which is fairly not great unless you nail a headshot with it. And there's nothing
so
greater
good for the raid with ads. If you can constantly get headshots, it's a one-hit kill to any enemy. So you just constantly get the one-shot headshots, and you get the perk that reloads your knife. I got like 19 combos in the raid, just knife throwing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to like when we were doing the baths, I switched over to that just because I could just start just launching them left and right, and that's when I started becoming way more effective.
I was doing it in the gauntlet when the guys are coming out of doors, just as they're coming out of doors, just going, whoop.
Yep, doing that as well. Trip mine on one, start knifing the other. Yep.
Too bad that couldn't keep you from dying 20 times, Nato.
Oh, I'm sorry. Nathan, come help me. Nathan, come help me. That was the line I heard many times.
Damn. It's like Shade Central, like immediately, which I didn't think would happen so fast.
Yeah. I mean, our raid group got, like, bonded closer.
We were like born in blood and fire.
And it sounds like you guys did not have that experience.
No, I'm actually very proud of our raid team. We'll get into it, but
so I just also wanted to say, like, the Warlock's new ability of like having a healing pool fits my playstyle like super well. Like I love to play the healer, as anyone who plays.
Also, do you like the cement your feet kind of role as well?
Yeah, I like to stick in and kind of hold.
I know that's why I don't think I could ever do something like that. That's why I like the hunter. I don't like staying put. I hate it. I hate it. And then
I like both, and I feel like for my personal playstyle, like how I like to go, the Titan fits the run and gun for me better. That's why I gravitated to the Titan as my second character in the original Destiny. But I haven't played Titan at all in Destiny 2, so we'll see how I feel about like the new stuff.
Are you Arc Soul on Warlock? Like, are you a Stormcaller?
I am a Stormcaller build, so.
A quick question for you, Nato. This is a hunter-specific question. What's your stats you running? Because right now I'm running a 10 on mobility, 3 on resilience, and 2 on recovery. What are you running?
For PvP, I'm running 10, 4, 1.
Okay, interesting. All right.
And then for the raid, it's completely opposite. I'm having pretty low mobility, high resilience, and then try and get a lot of recovery as well. Because I was feeling like Alex can vouch for this. In the first part of the raid we did this last week, I had my PvP build on.
Yeah, I was way to switch it up.
I was nearly getting one-shotted, like instantly, just because I had no armor.
No armor, and you had literally no recovery on that.
Yeah. And he was like
I was just getting one shot.
In charge of like a single panel by himself.
Okay, that's a hard one then.
Yeah, so
I find mine being more balanced then. Okay.
Yeah, I changed my stats around, and now and then Alex and I was dominant from then on. As soon as I changed my stats around a bit.
Yep.
Because I lowered my mobility during the raid. I lowered my mobility down to 9, and I try to get more even on that end. But of course, Mida gives you a +1 on it anyway. So.
Yeah. So I do want to kind of transition into the raid. There's a few things I want to touch on first because a lot has happened. We don't have as tight a time limit on this one as well. So we're just, we're hanging out. We're having a good time.
Did I tell you I have a podcast to record in 30 minutes?
I fucking hate you.
I'm kidding.
So I wanted to, I bring this up because I actually watched the Polygon folks play the first part of the raid through. And Griffin McRoy was the one streaming it. Shout out to Shaboy, Griffin McRoy. Fun fact, he plays his character literally the exact same build as me.
Yeah.
Down to the same exotic primary weapon.
Oh, wow.
Jesus. So, on Griffin, did you watch him do the Nightfall as well this week?
I haven't.
It's so brutal.
I wanted to take a shout out to my sweet boy Griffin McRoy. So going off of that, my exotic primary is the Skyburner's Oath, which has a special ability where it'll shoot through shields for Phalanx. Yeah. So I wanted to maybe go around the table here and check in and see what exotic, if any, everyone's rocking.
Sure.
So Alex, what you got, man?
So from level 1 to I think like 18 or 19, I was rocking the Graviton Lance because I had to drop early, and I just love the look of that gun. And I had an ornament early on, but I eventually switched and kind of went to, I think I unlocked the multi-tool eventually. Realized like, it's not really for me. Like I can, it's not as like I want to have some flair, and I really like pulse rifles because of their different I just unlocked the Vigilance Wing a couple weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a pulse rifle that it's 5-round burst, and then it heals whenever an ally dies, heals me.
Excellent for PvP.
Yes.
Excellent.
So I've been running a lot of PvP. Vigilance Wing has been my primary. And then I usually have an offhand auto rifle. Right now I'm rocking I've got it pulled up in front of me, the Valacaden. Just a purple auto rifle. But I've mostly been rocking the Vigilance Wing pulse rifle. And last night in the raid, I unlocked a pulse rifle called the Inaugural Address. And so I'm kind of playing with that.
Nice. The Inaugural Address, the pulse rifle for that?
Yeah.
That has an awesome piece of lore attached to it, if I recall correctly.
Yes, it does.
Is it the one where he goes into the Senate?
Yep.
Yeah, that's such a good piece of lore.
It is.
All the raid weapons.
Have we addressed that? For any new people, if you get a couple of legendaries and all exotics, if you pull up, you're looking at the gun stats. If you pull the left trigger, I think it is, you'll actually get a lore piece that will tell you all about that gun. So if you ever feel like you want to know more about it.
Yeah, LT or L2.
Yeah.
Cool.
It tells you more about the history of the weapon, but also for Callus's raid, for the Leviathan raid, it tells you basically the story of Callus. And
yeah, it's really cool.
It's cool, guys.
I actually didn't know about that, so that's cool.
That's where the grimoires are these days.
Also worth shouting out my exotic helmet. I figure armor actually does fit into this as well. For again, my main character, not necessarily my hunter. The Crown of Tempests.
Yes, dude. Oh, it's so good.
Oh, is that the trash helmet? Like the trash crown? The crown of trash?
It's got a crown, but it's more like a Vape Central 420, bro.
Yeah, pretty much.
And,
like a cow skull kind of in it somewhere.
I forget what does it do? Arc ability increases the recharge rate of your arc abilities. Like any arc kills increase your arch recharge rates. I have my Destiny inventory manager open.
Perfect.
There you go.
I'm sitting at the tower right now.
For me, it's whenever I see people with that, I think, oh, it's the hobo crown.
I think it looks cool. It kind of reminds me.
It makes you look
like it looks like garbage strapped to your head.
I think it reminds me of like an old Lord of the Rings
like
crown.
Like a Nazgul helmet.
Yeah, it looks like the Nazgul helmet. Yeah, that's what
Nazgul
it looks
crown.
like.
I think
it always looks like it's made of like scrap metal, like it's been like
in a way,
looks like your head.
It looks like,
but in a good way.
Glass.
It's so easy to spot out people in PvP with that and snipe their heads off with it.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry that my vape takes priority over your bullshit PvP snipes. That's why I don't play PvP, Cam. Like, look, problem solved. Guys, I did it.
Yeah.
Nato, what you got, man?
I'm actually one of these outliers that don't really use much exotics whatsoever. I use it I have used the Skyburner's Oath in the last bit of the raid just because there's a lot of flanks coming down and it's optional. Like it's good in that scenario. But yeah, I run a lot of legendaries. I pretty much have pure legendaries on my gun side, and every once in a while I'll chuck a legendary exotic. Maybe the Lucky Stomps, just to get that extra mobility with the hunter.
Yeah, is that how you like to play? You don't have to worry about balancing exotics, or is it just luck of the draw? This is what you have.
I have pretty much every exotic these days now. I think maybe Sweet Business is about the only one that's eluding me at the moment. But yeah, nothing's really giving me flair that I want to use in my style.
Sure.
Really.
Yeah, I was just curious.
Skyburner
Sweet
really
Business.
fit into my style, so
maybe actually the Sunshot. Sunshot's maybe the one that I've used.
Sunshot's so cool. I have a cool ornament for that one too.
Me too.
I have really cool ornaments, but for none of the guns I own. It's the worst.
Hard Light is my other one.
Oh, you love Hard Light.
I love Hard Light. It was the first exotic weapon I ever got in Destiny 1 also. So there's like a little bit of like romance there, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
Cam, what you got?
I am
pushes up glasses.
Yeah. No, I was let me pull this up quick. I got my Destiny app open right now. So I usually run Mida multi-tool for weapons just because I love scout rifles and it really just fits within my style of play. Outside of that, I'm usually found running, as far as armor goes, Foe Tracer. For those of you who don't know, Foe Tracer is a hunter helmet, which when you aim down your sights at somebody and somebody's there, and it goes move into your crosshairs at all, even for a split second, an X reticle is attached to their character, even behind walls. So I can trace
fire team as well.
Yeah, for me and my fire team. So for people just there, if they're like, "Oh, I'm sneaking around, I'm sneaking," it's like, "I already saw you, bitch!" Bang.
Not only that, but it deals more damage to the low health marked enemies. So
yes,
oh, that's cool.
It's an incredible.
Man, I need to roll a hunter.
Yeah, because I have it on my hunter.
It's such a great piece of equipment.
And that's
outside of that, it's Lucky Pants.
That's actually an excellent segue into the next thing I wanted to bring up. Cameron, into Zur is here. Zur is here. Zur has come home.
Zur is here. He, instead of being at the tower or a social space, instead he is hanging out at the planets.
Yeah, he's just chilling, man.
Can we talk about how that's just like the coolest? Like, it's such a simple thing, but it's such the coolest thing ever that he's out hanging with the fam out in the wilds.
In the wild, man.
In the wild, man. It's cool because it also gives you a reason to go to. He'll always be attached to the planet where the
flashpoint is.
The flashpoint is for that weekend.
Yep.
So okay, good to know.
Yeah. So it's two birds with one stone. It gives everybody an excuse to go do it.
Because like he's done it the last 2 weeks, but is like Bungie come out and said that's what's going on?
They haven't come out and said it, but I mean,
yeah, it's been 2 weeks in a row that it's happened. Yeah.
Granted, we thought, oh my gosh, is Trials of the Nine going to be an all-week thing? Nope, it just turns off at 10 a.m. instead of a cutoff time.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
So the big thing, Zur has arrived and Trials has started, Trials of the Nine.
Mm-hmm.
How's everybody feeling about these? Like Zur, obviously it's always hit or miss.
People were freaking out the first week.
Because he gave out one of the best weapons in the game.
Yeah, he did.
But everyone's going to be disappointed these days with Zur. It's not like Destiny 1, because Destiny 1, there was like that artificial limiter on how many exotics you would get, like, per week nearly. Like, because I couldn't even remember how long it took me to get my first exotic in Destiny 1, and I pretty much got it first day, like multiple the first day in Destiny. So I don't think Zur's going to be such a big thing as he was in Destiny 1, because unless he's going to sell something new that nobody's got, he's going to be good for those casual players that don't play as much, that find it hard to get exotic. But for your hardcore audience, Zur's never going to be good for you, ever. Like, people just need to give up on.
He'll give you spare pieces. For example, if you run a class and you're like, well, for example, I still have my old Warlock from Destiny 1, and so I am hoarding Warlock gear.
Yeah, same here.
So it makes sense for me to buy the Warlock gear from Zur to just so it's ready for my Warlock with the moment he comes out at level 20, hit him with a 270 piece of gear. It makes sense that way. Outside of that, Zur reminds me of how he kind of was more towards the end of Destiny 1, where wasn't really that important because of the change in drop rates and the change in engram decryption rates. Once we had those fixes done in Destiny 1, Zur became much less big of a deal.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him more involved in quest lines like he used to be. For the Eris Morn, for Dark Below's specialty weapon, he was involved in the quest line.
That was also a bad thing as well, because like if you could only play midweek,
that's true.
You could never do the Zur quest because you'd have to wait till Zur was there to hand in the quest. And if he's only there on weekends,
that's fair.
Horrible.
I think there's an easy workaround where like Zur will appear in a special location if you're within that quest. Like I think they've shown that they could do that in Destiny 2 with its infrastructure. So. I don't know. Yeah, Zur's fine. It's good to see, another part of Destiny back.
It's like when I got to see Rahul again.
The other thing, your favorite character in Destiny.
I hate him so much.
I know.
I hate him so much because I came in after the loot cave situation where they said they fixed Rahul. That he wouldn't do that thing where he drops your engram level.
They neutered Rahul.
So when I got I wish they had neutered him earlier. When I got my first ever exotic engram, and I was so excited, and I went to Rahul. It was right when I started playing Destiny.
And Rahul literally spit in your face.
He dropped it down to a blue.
Here's a green.
He dropped it down to a blue. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
When he did that, I just said, "Why? Why would he do that?" And my friend said, that's it. If it happened to you after they said we're fixing it, we have to rename our guild or like our clan. And so that's when I became part of what was known as Rahul's Rejects.
Yeah. But now
That's
you're part
awesome.
of the Farm to Tower clan. Shout out to everyone that is taking the time to join the Farm to
What?
Tower clan. Y'all are beautiful. We've got so many members now. So many people to play
Really?
with. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we have
Don't
tons of
you
people
even think about it, Alex?
On PS4. as well.
on PS4. Yeah,
And clans are universal, right? You can.
Yeah, clans are cross console. Yeah.
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 Which is even more annoying. It's like, oh, you can do clans. Why can't you do saves? Whatever. Piece
Yeah.
of shit.
That is still weird. Especially because it's all just on Bungie's end.
Exactly.
Well, it's because some stuff isn't available for Xbox players.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. You just have to blank it out. It's the same way, like, you could do the same thing where, like, if I get a piece of armor that's a hunter's armor while I'm a warlock, it just blanks it out. It's like, you can't use this because you are not a warlock. You could do the same thing. You're on Xbox. You cannot use this gun.
Can you imagine the salt? Can you imagine the
Oh,
salt?
yeah.
The salt
I
would
don't think
be
it'd be a big deal.
epic.
No, because like, I
Have
don't
you
see
met the
what-
Destiny subreddit? Have
That's-
you
Yeah.
met them?
Yeah, but
The
like,
most
they'll
fair
complain
weathered
about
motherf-
everything. Is the thing.
I was
the
about to say
game
that.
that
Have you
is
met
Destiny
Reddit
subreddit.
in general?
It's the most fair weathered people I've ever seen. Hey, props to Bungie. One thread, the thread below it. Fuck Bungie.
How do you guys? I've not done Trials of the Nine. I don't think
It's
I would be
garbage.
high enough level to do Trials of the Nine.
Apparently, Trials is not light based anymore.
It's not
Like, as long
light-based.
as you're 260, you're fine now.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's because it's locked, I think, at 260, but I think that's a skill thing. They don't want newbies jumping in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're gonna
Um,
get whooped.
Whooped. Also, by the time you're 260, you should have decent weapons and decent weapon variety.
Yeah.
I played with Griffin. It was Griffin, myself. I think it was Tony. Yeah, it was Tony, and then I think it was another member of our clan who joined recently, and it was right before reset, so we hopped in right away, and we got our clocks cleaned. And I said, "Oh,
Yeah.
this is Trials of the Nine, huh?" And it's at that moment, Griffin's just like, "Yeah, I mean, this is." And I realized, I'm like, the people who are playing it right now are not people who I can beat. They're people who literally all they want to do 24/7
Is play Trials. Yeah, that's all they want to do.
So-
Yeah.
So it was not a good
But it's
idea for
funny,
me to
they
try to
all run
sneak
the
it in
same
at the
strategy on the map.
Yeah.
because it's the strategy that works.
Yeah.
now,
But it's also
Unless you
where
counter
antimatter
it.
is going to come into.
yeah. Now
Yeah.
Trials of the Nine is 4v4, correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
it is. It's a big difference. That one extra person can really make a huge difference.
So is the
Yeah.
game mode the same though? Where like if you go down, you have to be revived, and it's round
Mhm.
based.
It's no. It's have you played the competitive match
list
list?
it all.
I have, but again, like that'll fluctuate game mode. So
Yeah, well,
It's the one where
that's
you're
what I mean.
planting a bomb.
Yeah, was last
Oh.
week.
Yeah, but it's
And
no
this
longer
week-
the
this week-
the way that they used to do Trials of Osiris. It's not that anymore.
Yeah.
okay,
It's
See,
based off of the competitive match list.
Okay.
So last week was the Search and Destroy, and
It
then
still
this
is
week
this week. I
is
played
it this week
today.
too?
Is it?
I hate
Oh,
that.
they
I
was-
hate that game mode.
Oh, I
hate
thought they
it.
were supposed to do survival this week.
I thought it was going to
Nope.
be survival this week.
It's
Well,
bomb planting. I just played one like 2 hours ago and won.
Oh, because they had
And
to
then got
switch
off
the
'cause I
match.
didn't
No,
wanna
they had
run
to switch
flawless.
the match type because the map that they were doing this week for trials has a glitch where you can sit your head outside the map, so you
Oh.
can't get shot. So they instantly changed the match and must have changed the game style as well.
Yeah,
Makes
maybe.
sense. Makes sense.
So I did just go back and listen, and it's hard to fix it now, but I was muted at the beginning of this podcast, so I just want to say
Oh.
hi, everyone. If you missed it,
What do you mean? What do you mean at first part? Like it's just been the three of us talking?
No, like yeah, at the first minute, because
Oh, okay.
so I'm still learning the software that we're doing this on.
Yeah.
I have to hit a button.
And it's still in beta, I think.
It's out of beta, but like it's beta
It's
to
still
me.
in beta for us.
It's beta to Farm to Tower. I have to hit like a button to send my changes to the live broadcast. So when
Oh,
I
wow.
look at them
That's
in
cool,
the
though.
software, like
That's
it's
neat.
like, oh, it's fine. But then there's like a little preview window. It's like, this is what's
Mm.
actually going out. And I'm like, oh, whoops. So just real quick. So it's at least somewhere in the podcast. I'm Alex O'Neill. Nato Johnston's here. Cameron Abbott's here. Alex Van Aken is here. And I love these boys. And Griffin's not here because he's drunk.
Yeah, or dead.
Well, he's drunk with family. There's a difference. It's not like
Yes.
we couldn't get a hold of him.
Drunk
His
with
roommate says
power.
he's drunk. He's drunk with power.
Power of the
I know
Destiny
he's-
set.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are the big ones I wanted to touch on because these are 10 pulls of Destiny. If we didn't talk about them, and I think like you know, what with this being seasonal and things changing, like we haven't really talked about the story yet. I think there's room to talk about the campaign and whatnot. We will,
I think so.
maybe talk about that next episode, depending on what's happening.
It'd be a good thing because especially if we want to go into detail story lore wise about the raid, we should just talk about. We need to know what the story of Destiny and who Gaul is and everything else.
Yeah, exactly. So like, you know, we're still figuring out the format of this show as we go along. But I think the raid is the big topic of conversation in the Destiny stratosphere right now, especially because we all have very differing painful experiences with it. It sounds like. So like let's get into that. Now, Alex, you had not done a raid before, correct?
Not in Destiny. I used to raid in WoW.
Not the same.
Nerd.
Not the same.
And City of Heroes Task Force. I'm just saying.
I've never raided in WoW, and never bring up City of Heroes ever again.
You mean one of the? Anyways, I don't want to get too off topic.
It was different, I assume. I know Cameron just said it's different, but I'm asking you, Alex. It was very different, I assume.
Oh yeah. And granted, though that was 8, 9, 10 years ago. So this is the first raid I've done in a while. So I knew like what mindset I needed to be in. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna die a lot. My team's gonna die a lot. I'm probably gonna get frustrated with them, but just have like the patience of a sage, drink beer, and everything will be fine.
That's like that's the thing, and I'm not throwing stones here. I'm just saying like it happens, I think, with everyone. There's a tendency to get frustrated with everyone else that you're playing with during the raid because, for folks who don't know, right? I think in my head I've surmised the raid to like the raid is very long. It's a long experience, not because the things you have to do take a while. They do take a while, like longer than normal tasks in a first-person shooter would, I would say, but because you are doing them over and over again and failing over and over again until the one time when you succeed, right? So you're spending 3 hours on a single section on a quarter of the raid, and 2.5 hours of that is failing doing it, and then the last 30 minutes to 15 minutes is doing it correctly and successfully. Or getting lucky or whatever. So like when we talk about, Cameron and I did the raid this past Sunday, and we had a 12-hour block from 3 a.m. Eastern to 3 p.m. Eastern to 3 a.m. Eastern. Like again, the majority of that was failure.
Yes.
But like,
can I just ask a quick question of you guys? Had you guys played a lot together before this raid? Had you done strikes and nightfalls and stuff like that?
Alex and I played a lot in Destiny 1 towards like probably the last half of Destiny 1. Post taking King, when Alex did his first, he went through and did his first raid without me. Sad to your face.
Whatever.
But then after that, we went through and we did all the other raids together. We did all the rest of the raids together.
We did.
Okay.
It was cute.
But so like a lot of your team was made up of people that hadn't really played much together until the raid.
The only three of us who'd ever played together at like long term was Tony, myself, and Alex. That's it.
Yeah. All right. We'll put a pin in that bit for later.
Yeah.
Because there's a question that I'm going to bring that up all. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, like, I just want to set the expectation that primarily the raid is figuring it out, but I don't mean figuring out in like learning what you have to do. That is definitely part of it. I mean figuring it out in learning how you specifically are going to do it. What is your personal strategy? What is your team strategy? And how you plan to accomplish that. And like, you can watch the Extra Life stream of Irrational Passions from last year. Like, you can watch me fucking flub it literally the last second and like ruin the whole thing. And like accidents like that happen a lot. Everyone. Like it's not just one person, it's 6 people. Like there's just so much that needs to go on. So like, I just want to set that expectation so folks who don't understand maybe understand better. Because it's like they're exceptionally complicated and like often frustratingly obtuse. But in a way that I think is really fun. I just don't see like I don't get frustrated with other people. I get frustrated with the situation. Like if someone's not up to the task, like I'm not going to just come down on them and get angry. But that's also the kind of player that I am.
I mean, and you also have to think like somebody could be executing flawlessly, but like the first week, let's say, like we didn't beat it the first week. We still haven't beat it, but I think we'll probably try to beat it tonight or tomorrow. But a lot of our people were underpowered level. They were doing everything they needed to do. They just couldn't get the damage out.
Yeah.
That was a
So
big. That was an
we
issue.
did the
with ours
same
as well.
team
Yeah.
this week and pretty much last week. And last
Flew
week we
through
were
a lot
getting
of them.
crushed in the baths, like
Yeah.
crushed. Like up. And this week we did the baths in like nearly one run.
Yeah, 2 tries, we got it.
I
So
think,
it's like
I think when
that's
our
also
group
'cause we
runs
knew
it
what to
again,
do,
that'll be
but-
the case.
yeah.
Because
So-
I think we had 3 people under 270 when we went in.
Oh yeah.
So
That'll-
we had a
that'll-
rougher time with that, I think, than we would if we. That's one of the reasons why I said I was power leveling, because I want to help people who haven't had the time to power level like that to just kind of
Sure.
like
Yeah.
help out more. Especially
Pick
since
up-
I flubbed in the raid hard several times.
So I want to like continue kind of. We'll figure out where we want to start with the raid conversation.
Sure.
I want to continue going around and seeing like
Yeah.
what raids everyone's done. Alex, this was your first Destiny raid.
Yes.
Ever.
Ever.
NATO, what had you done before?
Oh, I've done everything. I'm like Griffin. I was hardcore Destiny 1. I'd finished all raid. Oh, actually, no, I didn't do Rise of Iron because by that stage my like clan had started falling apart, and we could get like we had enough to raid, but we could never get anyone on at the same time to raid. So I've missed Rise of Iron. That's about the only one.
That sucks because Wrath of the Machine is my favorite raid from Destiny 1. So
Yeah, it didn't look like that compared to me. I liked Crota, and I know people like Crota's the worst, but it was the first raid that made hunters legit in a raid. Well, after Atheon, like people were like, no, we don't want a hunter in our raid group.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of discrimination during the Atheon run.
Yeah.
missed
Like a lot. No, like a lot. Like if you were a hunter, people were like, nah, sorry, man. Get the fuck out. Unless you had Galahorn to like compensate for you being a hunter, people like get the fuck out on LF on looking for groups and stuff like that. They were like, no.
luckily I wasn't
Don't want a
around at
hunter.
that time, but
Yeah, it was horrible.
I heard.
Cameron, you've also done all zoo raids as well. correct?
Yeah, I have. I'm a bit of an oddity. I came into Destiny after everybody that I knew was burnt out of Destiny, which
Mhm.
was post Crota. Crota came out, and people who beat Crota were like, okay. And then they realized how long of a span it was going to be, and a lot of people dropped off, and I ended up dragging no less than 8 people back to Destiny. And I went through and I did all the raids. I've only ever done Crota correctly once, because the cheesing across the bridge is the easiest way to do it.
Mhm.
Or it was before they patched it. But no, it was. I've done every single raid. I've done.
Yeah, you can
I
still
pretty much
choose
did it. Yeah, you can still choose it, but it's different now. The biggest thing is that I've done everything there is to do in Destiny 1.
Mhm.
I just did it a little bit later than for the first part of it. But no, I mean, I remember my first raid when Destiny was Crota, and it was an awesome experience. I'm a massive fan of the raiding mechanics in Destiny. Even though we'll get into some of them tonight.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Destiny raiding mechanics.
Yeah.
The King's Fall, Vault of Glass, and Wrath of the Machine are 3 of my favorite video game experiences of all time, like hands down.
Holy cow. Okay.
And because like
Atheon to me is still the greatest moment in any video game I've ever played.
yeah, because like there's just literally nothing ever like it ever has since past before ever.
Because I've played WoW raids as well, and they're amazing. Like they really are, but there's just too much people in those in a raid.
40-man
Having 5 of your friends. I remember we were trying to blow up Crota's Oversoul to prevent us from wiping. And everybody was like, well, that's a wipe. And I just said, no, not on my watch. And I busted out my rocket launcher. It wasn't a Galahorn. It was just a regular rocket launcher with homing on it. And I just launched it and did just enough damage to stop the Oversoul.
To pop
That's
those.
awesome.
And then from there,
So many moments like
we
that.
beat Crota.
We
We
had a
had that
moment-
last chance to beat Crota, and it was like that was the first time we beat Crota, and then I also got Black Hammer from it. So
And we had a
God,
moment like
Black
that in Leviathan as well, and it was
yes.
there was like cheering afterwards. Like it was like there's just there's like a level of satisfaction that you get from that level of teamwork that I just
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah,
you get that
it's-
feel anymore anywhere else.
It's like multiple Dark Souls bosses because like there's 6 of you doing a Dark Soul boss at the same time. So yeah, it's just that gratification you get from beating like a Bloodborne Dark Souls boss. That like, oh god, yes.
Yeah.
But you get to do it with 5 other
with,
people.
with your friends. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, it's
There's nothing like it.
It's really cool. So I've done Vault of Glass, King's Fall, and Wrath of the Machine, and now Leviathan. I have not ever done Crota because I wanted to do Crota the legit way. And y'all know Destiny players. It's like, well, if we're not doing it the fastest, easiest way, then I don't want to do it. And it's like, well, fuck all of you, I guess. I remember going into the raid with 6 people, into Crota with 6 people with Tony Horvath, and I was like, yeah, we're going to do it legit, right? He's like, yeah. And then we get to the one part and he's like, all right, we're going to cheese it. And I'm like, well, fucking what? You just lied to me? And then, yeah, so I never finished.
Oh, I would not want to be there.
So yeah, I'm still salty about that. I've got
a PlayStation character like on Destiny 1. I might.
Let's go back, Nato. We gotta go back.
So
we
do
gotta go back.
I have a copy of Taken King I can't get rid of. So
Kate, we gotta go back. Nate, we gotta go back. It actually worked way too well. So like I came in at King's Fall or the Taken King expansion, as folks who listened last. I think I talked about it last episode. My first raid was still Vault of Glass though, because I really wanted to do it. If you want to dig into, there's a really great conversation.
Have you done that legit?
Yeah.
So like at the Templar, all of you were down in the area rather than the one guy down with the shield and everybody up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
It was rad,
man.
Dude, it was like that was a really great experience. Especially like that's archived on youtube.com/irrational passions. If you guys want, I might nostalgically go back and watch that after we're done recording this.
Nice.
Because then I can watch us win the raid at the end and not be completely destroyed. But there's if we want to dig back, and I'm just pimping our stuff, and I apologize, but I had like a really great conversation with Brendan Williams, one of the old writers for IP. 2015 Game of the Year content. There's a video of it on YouTube, on this YouTube channel. Where his Game of the Year that year was Destiny the Taken King expansion, because of Vault of Glass, because of that raid that he was a part of. It was just it's a story, right? Like 6 hours with folks. It is like, and obviously we have one coming up. It is like, like there's a joke like where Jacob Bryant went and got like a burrito delivered mid raid, and we all had to take a break.
Yeah,
and like
we've had that. We've had somebody got like his next door neighbor got robbed. Like his apartment got robbed mid raid. Yeah, it's just like we were just playing with the
we're taking Crota down.
Yeah, exactly.
We just hear this guy like, I've got to go, and we're like, wait, what? And like we just were at the part of starting Atheon, and then he comes back and he's like, there's people robbing my neighbors right now. And we're like, what the
Holy
fuck?
cow.
It's just like there, and like you were attached to people by the end of that raid. I feel like
that's why the start of this game, where they showed you the raids and the teams you did it with, I was like, man, I haven't talked to some of these people in like 3 years, but I was blood brothers with them for those 6 hours.
It was just Cameron with me for most of the time, so it worked out.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, that's true.
I won with my
the
dad.
only time it was the first time for me with Alex was Wrath of Machine, and that first time doing Wrath of Machine with Alex and a bunch of our friends was a very special moment. This was not the Irrational Passion stream. One where we all broke down in tears at the end.
Yeah.
I remember that.
No. That was just me crying also. Don't fucking pretend. And I was actually crying at one point. So
yeah,
like,
you did.
Let's not make
cry.
jokes about this. I have like a lot of nostalgia and also like affection for the raids, including this one. But like I will say, and it's definitely because we didn't end up beating it, like walking out of Leviathan, like because there was a point at 4:30 in the morning.
I know, because
on
I
Monday
finished
night.
work. I finished work, and I was like, "You boys are still playing," and I'm finishing work, going home.
And we got
And I was
to
like,
the damage phase of the final boss for the first time, and never got back to it. And I was just like, we have to call it. Like, we have to put this down, because if we keep going, it's just gonna hurt that much more when we get to the end. It kicks us out, and it's just like there. I don't think anything has burned me as hard on a video game. Like, I couldn't play Destiny for a couple days. I just had to step away.
It hurt.
Yeah.
It
That's
hurt.
what
I had to
happened.
start a new
I know.
character. I was just like,
And then you get to that point like a couple of days later, and you're like, "Fuck! I want to go back, and now I want to beat him this time." And
Yeah.
oh man, it's just such a beautiful
'Cause
cycle.
I'm running it with a different group tomorrow, and
Yep.
I have no expectations that we're gonna finish it, and I'm going in with that versus last time where I'm like, I'm setting aside a whole day
We're
for
gonna
it,
beat
and
it.
we took a whole day and we still didn't finish it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
who are you going with tomorrow, Alex?
Dustin Furman,
Ah.
and the
Nice.
handsome Phantom Troop. And possibly Cameron's giving me the fucking stink face right now. It's just frozen on it. So I have no expectations of finishing it. So
Yeah.
I swear to God, if you finish it,
I'm still underleveled, so I don't think it'll happen.
I swear to God, Alex.
I'm waiting to see like if the Australians get frosty that I finish it with the Americans, like in our clan.
Actually, Cameron, we might need a 6. So what if we?
Okay, then sure, let's do it.
We beat it together and fuck everyone else.
I know, because I know Trevor's not ready to do it this week. Trevor wrote an article and recorded a video. About his
he's very
experience
upset.
rating. So he's the most upset out of all of us because he's not used to that feeling.
Yeah, that's fair. Because like he like we've seen him play things like Bloodborne, where like that's not his style of fun. Where like it punishes you so much, and then the victory is what gives you that like, oh, all of it was worth it. Like it
never is for
seem to-
Trevor though.
Yeah,
for Trevor,
I know.
it's never that worth it moment. He never gets
That's what I mean. That's where like after watching him with like that Bloodborne stream, that even I'm like, oh, I don't know if he's gonna like the raids because like it punishes like
yeah.
And
I was so proud of him though. I was so
very good for like top team. It is punishing to the point where you succeed. It's just how long it punishes you is how good you are.
Yeah. I was for sure really impressed, and like again, there is a lot of patience required for this. So I don't know how we want to go into the raid discussion. I'm curious.
Let's start from the beginning. Let's start from the time where Tony punched the guards.
Oh no.
Well, actually, two things first. Since like you two, Nato and Alex, you guys were in a raid group together, and Cam and I were in a raid group together. What was our raid group? I'll start with Cam and mine. It was Cameron, myself, Tony Horvath, obviously friend of the show, host of Irrational Passions, Trevor Starkey, TrevorTrove.com, Shaboy, shout out. Connor Sheehan, who's a friend of mine through Twitter, works at Vizmania.
God,
anime pretty boy, super lovely human.
As soon as I saw he had Viz in his thing, I was like, oh my god. Same, like I had the same reaction as Griffin. I was like, I need to know this boy.
He's also like just an incredibly pretty man.
I know, he
He's
seems
so
really
nice. He's so incredibly kind and sincere.
And
I'm so impressed by him.
He's a sweetheart. And Mina Adele, who is somebody I know through the Comedy Button like fan community. And was there another person?
No, that's the 6 of us.
Okay.
Yep.
I didn't want to leave anybody out, and I forgot. So
Our usual trio of you, myself, and Tony. We added Trevor, then Connor, and then Mina.
Yeah.
And we got Connor and Mina to leave their clans to join ours.
Yeah, just saying. Hashtag humble brag. Shout out to Farm to Tower. Thank you to everyone.
Farm to Tower.
What about you guys?
All right, so I have two raid groups. I have my Australians and then I have my Americans. So my Australians are ones that are from the original like Destiny 1. These are the guys that I've gone through all these years doing all these raids. Some have dropped off and some are here and there and stuff like that. So who's mostly in that? So I have my friend pretty much the whole bunch of school friends, and then a bunch of people that I work with are mostly who I raid with in that group. And then the Americans, I have Alex, I have Bless, I have Rihanna, and most of them are from the Kind of Funny community that are on Xbox.
Yeah,
sounds like
on
half
that
of them are from
squad-
the OK Beast community.
Oh
Yeah.
Community
Yeah.
right there.
So on like the one, so I think Nato and I both tried to raid a week ago, and neither of us got very far. I think.
Yeah. Apart from me, I think everyone was 260-ish nearly.
Yeah,
So
and last week it was our friend Cody, Richard Wilcox, a couple other people like that. This week it was and is Rihanna and Numair they're like the Kind of Funny Lovers that I think some people know. And then who else? You Nato, me, my best friend in the whole world, Zach Johnstone. He was the best man at my wedding. I got him into Destiny 2. And I did not think we were ever going to get to raid together because he's a dad, and it's a long.
He stayed up to 4:30 in the morning,
and then got up an hour later when his baby got up this morning. But he's with us, and then Bless is with us, and that's kind of been the group this week. That's the group I've gotten the farthest with.
Blessing.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I would buy an Xbox just to raid. Like the thought just popped into my
Blessing
mind.
is great because like he is like completely fresh to Destiny. Like he has no experience in Destiny, and man,
I just want to hear his hot takes on everything.
God, it's so great. Playing with him is just amazing.
We were playing dogs, which we'll get to that encounter.
We'll get to dogs.
We got
dogs, man.
Yesterday.
See, that's the weirdest thing, that different raid groups find different things hard because Baths is our bane, but dogs are easy for us. Dogs.
I mean, we're very good. Our group is very good at dogs.
We're
like,
excellent at dogs.
We're maybe the best at dogs now.
I just want to say that we got to the third round of the damage phase in the dogs. We all die. Everybody has like these insane damage counters. We almost beat it. And then Blessing's damage is 0. And we're like, what were you doing? And he's like, I'm supposed to be killing dogs.
I was like, Bless, did you hurt your dog? And he's like, no. He had no, like, that's the thing. If you're new to raids, do not feel bad about asking questions. Like, I think Bless was like a bit worried about asking what to do. Like at the point where I said, "Is everyone cool with this?" He was like, "Yeah." But then, we saw after the first round, he wasn't cool. He had no idea what to do. Yeah. So, like, I was like, Bless. I walked him over. I was like, "This is where your dog's gonna be. You just do damage to him and stuff like that." So, always ask for help in the raid if you're feeling down.
And like, I'm really excited because I don't know about you guys. I got one of the Guided Games tickets.
So did
I. Yeah, I did too.
Okay, so like, I'm really curious. At some point, I would like to just run the raid as like a Guided Games solo player. Because I really want to know what that experience is like.
Exactly.
Joining a brand new raid group.
Yeah, well, like a brand new raid group, and like people, probably the group is no. It's just like I want to know what this is. Like, what's the value of this, right? And like I want to know like what the Sherpas of Guided Games look and sound like also, and I also want to know, like, in my experience of playing 4 out of 5 of the Destiny raids, Leviathan has the least room for error, like
100%.
The least, like almost
the revive tokens and the countdown on needing to revive a person.
Is that new?
Yeah,
that is brand new.
Okay,
and that is the most frustrating part about this raid problem altogether.
Right? And like the final encounter of Leviathan has literally 0 room for error. There's no room. You cannot die. You cannot fail.
You literally have to perfect it.
It if somebody
demands
dies,
more than any other raid that I've ever been.
See, hard Oryx was very like that as well.
That's hard Oryx though.
Yeah, I know.
Hard, not a hard raid, not a hard mode raid.
I've never played a hard mode raid. It's worth clarifying that also.
Hard mode raids were hell, but
hard mode raid you cannot revive.
Yeah,
like one person is dead, that's it. He's out for the rest of that part of the fight.
Yikes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you had as much time as you could have in regular raid.
So
did he die? We'll pick him up on the next round.
Yeah, exactly.
No, not a possibility here.
30 seconds.
The thing I want to kind of kick things off with is, so like, again, we're gonna try and lean away from like you do this, but maybe we'll talk about some experiences that does get into some of that. Just a fair warning for folks who maybe haven't played the raid yet. But I'm curious what your experience was, Alex, because you have not played a Destiny raid before, and obviously very different environment than bigger raids. The raid is for just to kind of lay over the top. The raid is split up into 4 major sections, with like a kind of intermediary section between each raid section, where you have to kind of gain access to that area of the ship. Can we take a moment to shout out the Leviathan concept art, which I actually saw for the first time this week?
God, yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal. So the Leviathan is like a legitimate world eater ship, but like you're just kind of like on this little crown city on top.
I know the tiniest little thing on the top is the whole point of that, like the whole part of that raid. It's just insane.
It's a very cool and the thing I like about Leviathan, and maybe we can kind of loop back around to some closing thoughts at the end, is it feels like a place. Which is kind of like a general improvement of Destiny 2 over Destiny 1, where everywhere feels like a place. Like in the King's Fall or whatever, you just go there and you're like, all right, fucking fight the boss, and there's a couple of secret chests. But Leviathan has an entire secret area. With keys and
the underbelly is amazing. Man,
it's also important to note that like the Dreadnought in and of itself, while being a massive ship, was also like a warped time and space situation. So
it's a different thing. Whereas Leviathan is just an actual physical ship.
100%. Yeah.
So Alex, you're going into the raid. I don't know if you went in blind, if you had like a guide open to the side or something. How are you feeling? Tell me about your experience.
Yeah. So going in, immediately I realized when we landed on the Leviathan, I realized, oh, this is what Destiny's all about. And kind of comparing it to the storyline, like, if it were any other game, like if this were Halo, what you land on, what the Leviathan is, it would be like the huge set piece at the end. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of what I was looking for in the campaign. Here it is. And so I was just kind of blown away by the grandeur of like the Leviathan. Like it made me feel like, okay, we're very important right now. Like what we're doing is big in this world. And it kind of like set me up as soon as you land, like you're set up for like, oh, I'm scared. Like you're just this tiny dot on this huge city that's like a tiny dot on an even bigger ship. And so going into it, I was kind of blown away by just the theme of everything. I wasn't sure what to expect, honestly. And there's just like so many little things, so many little details that kind of just blew me away as I kept going through. And I was, like I said, I went into it with the mindset of I'm going to die a lot, but I'm here to have fun. I'm going to enjoy the pain and the suffering. And I know that the reward on the other side is going to be good. The first week we did it, I spent 5 or 6 hours on baths because I did it with 2 different groups because people kept dropping. And so I was a bit burnt out on baths, but we finally beat it that first night that we did it. And it was just like the best feeling in the world. And then we moved on, and we seem to have a problem where our raid team falls asleep at about 1 a.m. And so, but anyways, it's neither here nor there. So yeah, I'm loving it. I really enjoy the fact that the focus is on, a lot of it is like a big puzzle, right? Like you're figuring out what to do. It's all about execution. It's not necessarily, it is about killing, but there's several encounters that it's just combat minimum until like a certain section. And I really like that. It just kind of is refreshing. It's a refreshing change of pace from the other, the beginning 40 hours leading up to the raid. But yeah, so I'm really enjoying it, and I'm looking forward to hopefully beating it tonight or tomorrow.
Sure. Nato, did you go in blind as well?
Blindish. I just learnt about like mechanics. Like I didn't figure out.
Yeah, I was totally blind. Just
the baths we went in completely blind.
Yeah.
And then once we figured it out, then it was a case of everyone was like 260 apart from like me and I think my mate Liam. Like he was 270 just, and I was 282. And so like people couldn't hold their own against the bathers and stuff like that. So it was and then by the time we had to go into lanterns and stuff like that, people were just getting wiped by the ads. So, but then this week we've just come in and just absolutely dominated. Like we had a little trouble on dogs because we kept getting bad rolls where it was nearly always giving us like the far flowers to get to every single time. And we're just like, they are the worst to try and get to. But once we got a good roll where we got a couple of like close flowers, and then a couple of mid flowers, and then I finally learnt the good paths to get to the father flowers, we just crushed it.
Yeah.
And then by the time we got back to the bath again, we did it in one run, and we were like, well,
yeah,
done.
Yeah. Power level is everything in the baths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will also say that in the baths, I learned a very important bug. If you try to, as a hunter, if you try to dodge out of the way of a bather, it'll hit your after image and still hit you, and you get bounced into the wall and you die.
Yeah, it was real great when that happened to Cam like 7 times.
And everybody's just like, what's wrong? And then finally Mina's just like, change your ability then. And I'm like, I can't. Hunters don't have another ability.
Yeah.
and then it's just like, just don't
shit.
Yeah, just do it. No, that happened later.
Yeah, that did happen later. So Cam was part of our group. We went in blind. I do want to like take a minute. Shout out, like, obviously we listed out the team. Shout out to the team. I like put a call out on Twitter like a few days beforehand. I had gotten people and then backups for those people. I said like, hey, commit a day. Like this, I want you to commit to this. I don't want anybody backing out, because like that is really the big trouble with raid groups is like one person will drop and then you're fucked. No one dropped. We like 12 straight hours, like legitimately so thankful for that team for like just like literally clearing their time and day for it. I ordered pizza halfway through. It was a journey. So yeah, like I just shout out to the team for that. We went in blind except for Mina, who had watched a video about the raid, but wasn't like super familiar with everything. But like
she watched like an overview of it, not the like detailed strategies.
Exactly. Yeah. So we figured everything out up until the pleasure gardens, the dog part of the raid.
Also what I like to call Satan's asshole.
As what Cam calls Satan's asshole. And like, you know, we went into that and we're like, okay, like, hey, this is what we need to do. And like, from there, it was just figuring out how we were going to do it again, which I kind of preface this with.
And avoiding bugs. Avoiding random spawns.
I
avoiding a dog that literally spanned into the middle of the tree section.
I think there were definitely some bugs that happened, but I also think I actually
we had a few with dogs like teleporting. Like,
that was the biggest issue for us, as dogs would suddenly teleport.
We had a dog that would just teleport into the jungle, and we were like,
"Yes,
okay."
That's it. We are our 4 runners were on the ground. We were crouching, walking through the jungle part, and right in the middle, when there was enough of a space between the 2 halves, the dog teleported up, like literally came up through the ground, teleported up, and then just like launched into us. Another part was when dog rubber banded, walked away, and then suddenly rubber banded back and was like right in front of me, where it's not in his patrol path. And I'm like, is he even noticing me? And then his nose hits my character. And then
we were there one time, and we had a dog literally in front of us looking at us, and we're all like, it's seen us, and then all of a sudden we're like, no, it hasn't yet. Just stand still.
Stand still. It won't see you.
It smells fear. So the raid is broken off into 4 sections. 4 of Callus's trials, as they were known. The first one is the bathing ritual. The second is the pleasure gardens. The third is the gauntlet, and the fourth is Callus's chambers.
Could we just talk about how cool the gauntlet is? Like, we've been shitting on the other
Is the gauntlet like the favorite part of everyone? Because I think that's my favorite.
I think so. Yeah.
The
running, and like when everybody on your team has to run it, and it's a relay race.
It's super
You're just
fun.
like doing it.
Yeah, it's just like the spectacle of it alone is very, very cool.
Watching your runners run around while you're killing stuff and like doing that takes so much coordination.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But like, man, after the dogs, we all had our coordination down. So
for sure,
it didn't take us too long.
The thing I noticed too was like Bungie wasn't afraid to lean into the fact that you need to actively be speaking to one another, because like there are parts of like the other raids that I think it would be best to speak to one another, but I don't think there's anything that requires actual audible speech as much as this. Like, it is
really
actually legitimately impossible, because like there are times when, for example, in the gauntlet where you have to call out what 2 other players need to shoot. You also have to call out what symbols you see in the final section, what symbols you see, so that the players on the outside of that area know what to like. They know all 3 symbols that are seen, and then they know the 4th one that was not called out is the one that they have to take care of. Like, it's exceptionally specific in a way that Destiny's never been.
With the gauntlet, how did your runners talk about? Because this is the hot debate in the Destiny community at the moment. Like, how you call out in the gauntlet. Did you call out the 2 that needed to be done, or the one that didn't need to be done?
We called out the 2 that needed to be done.
See, we did the opposite. We were like, not mid.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I think there's a way to do that. It was difficult because you have 2 runners, right? So 2 people making call outs. So like
that's why we tried to limit it to just the one that's not doing. So we
was
didn't
with a
talk
random
over each other
group at one point, just trying to get my bearings. I wanted to go in before we all went in, so I could just kind of like see what was up. And they were saying you got to mute the other person completely. Like go into your Xbox and mute them. So you don't.
That's a good idea.
It just seems like, I mean, I think we were fine. If you're playing with friends, I think
we were playing with friends, but for us specifically, it was to the point where we were so ingrained, and we were like, because when it came to after the dogs, like I said in the Pleasure Garden, like we did not have a problem with communication going forward.
Sure.
To the point where it was Trevor and I, and at that point, Trevor and I had been listening to Trevor's instructions. Trevor had been listening to my input as well. In the Pleasure Gardens, to the point where I knew I didn't have to double check. I didn't have to make sure Trevor was in his spot. I just trusted he was.
Yeah.
And so there was never a lost moment. And Trevor saying, okay, I'm going to hit the Spectre guys as they show up.
You guys doing the orbs up top?
Orbs up top?
In the Pleasure Garden?
Trevor and I were both runners the entire time.
Yeah. Okay. But there's still a level of communication there.
You had to have communication on the ground because a person needs to lead the other 3.
Yeah.
Period. And and Trevor became that for us. Trevor really, like, when I say I'm proud of Trevor, I'm not just proud that Trevor didn't bitch and complain the entire time.
Yeah.
I'm really proud because Trevor really showed some incredibly great leadership skills in leading us through the Pleasure Gardens, because by the time things got really tough within that first hour, we could have been at each other's throats, but because Trevor was there on the ground with us, leading us, there was never a question of doubt. Trevor immediately assumed command and just was able to lead us through that, because I think if I had done it, or I don't know about Connor and Mina well enough to know whether or not they could have done it, but I know I couldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And having him have my back during the gauntlet, like I could hear Trevor sometimes, he's like, oh, I barely made that shot, but I never bothered with it. I never worried about it because I know Trevor was at that level of competency and skill that I didn't have to worry, and I needed to focus on my stuff to do. To the point where we were doing so well together as a duo, we were able to start helping out Mina and Connor, and then Mina and Tony when Connor went in as a runner. It was an awesome experience for Trevor and I. I think it's a highlight of the raid.
Awesome.
I'm so proud of Trevor for that.
Yeah, no, Trevor killed it, especially like for his first kind of group multiplayer cooperative experience, just in general. I do want to take a moment and say, like, because of like this spoken word aspect of the raid, right? Like this level of communication was necessary. One of the things that created was there's a level of jargon that your team creates for each section. Like you just called out, NATO, of like your team called out in a part like which one not to shoot, and thus the other two members that needed to shoot know which two to shoot, and we did the opposite. And there's a lot of that in the raid of like referring to, like, it circulates around these 4 symbols of the Cabal, like these twin knives, a chalice, a beast, and a cup. I already said chalice.
You said chalice. It's
sun.
Dog's sun. It's sun.
It's
or a decadent pastry.
Or a decadent pastry.
Or
very close.
Or a mug.
Or a mug or cup, as we often refer to.
We called it cup and mug. We never called it chalice, and Zyger in the chat was very upset.
Well, chalice is 2 syllables, so
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's
so
what we
it's
said.
easy to say cup.
We're gonna say cup. And like I love that this has created, like, in the Pleasure Gardens, when you essentially have to run to these 8 different points to collect spores and increase your damage buff. Like, there, it's like close right, close left, mid right, tree, rock, or cave, and like that. Those levels of jargon will come up between your teams, and I think like it is another layer to raids that increases like the value of them, because there is something unique to everyone's experience with it, and there is a level of communication that is solidified over the raid because you're referring to the same 4 symbols throughout all the raid, and that consistency helps like create this level of jargon, like this actual internal jargon that I just like. It is another thing that cooperative video games have never done, I don't think, like at least on this scale, and it's just another thing that Destiny's raids have like created in a cooperative gaming ecosystem that I've just never seen before. It's just like it's a very, very cool aspect of the raid.
100%.
We're hitting a pretty lengthy time, and I know we got some questions that I want to get to. So is there anything that we want to discuss about the raid before we kind of move on?
No.
How do we feel about the treasure boxes? And seemingly, like, I've been through several, like I've beaten several encounters and gotten like just tokens, and it's like all my other teammates are getting like exotics. And did you guys get burned at all by that?
I have a quick question for you, Alex. Did you eat your vitamins, and did you say your prayers to RN Jesus?
I did not, but I did have 2 tokens active.
I mean, that's what you got to do.
But the thing is, though, if we do beat the raid, I have 16 tokens, and you cash them in, and you'll get raid gear from those tokens.
Yeah,
I have 27 of them.
Yeah,
Jesus,
we have a lot. And I think that's a good workaround because of like the whole Vanguard system. Like having one for the raid, I think is a smart addition.
Apparently, I have 46 tokens, so
there you go.
I can't wait to beat this thing.
You're gonna beat it, and I think that's probably one of my biggest issues. Is they lock the vendor for it behind beating the raid.
Yeah.
No, it's that like final like.
Now, do you have to beat it just once, or is that every week he's locked until you beat it?
No idea about that.
No idea.
Yeah.
I think some of us would have to beat the raid.
Yeah, we'd have to know. I have 28 tokens, so just a shout out. I think that's again like same way with the like the guaranteed loot from your vanguards and from all of your quest givers, like having that equivalent for the raid is really smart, and it makes a lot of sense.
It makes it so it's not as difficult to farm the raid.
Exactly, and like also like if you do the raid and RNGesus is not on your side, you will still get rewarded at the end with actual raid loot. So
now, were the old raids, could you solo them or like 2-man them?
It depends. Some people could.
Yeah, because I think it's like literally impossible in this one.
People have done.
We think so now.
Yeah, you think
that?
But
I mean, like the baths, like
you'd be surprised.
Say that now. Yeah, you'll be 100% surprised. There's like other raids people have figured out because they like cheese the revive thing on Crota. I mean, on Oryx. I've seen people solo Oryx, and Oryx.
Yep.
I was there's no fucking way you can do Oryx by yourself. There is no possible. And yep, some guy does it because at the bit where the guy wipes you, he lets himself get wiped, and then he reses so he can keep doing. But that is the one thing I'm glad that we can bring up this episode. They got rid of the 3 classes that let you cheese things in Destiny.
Yep.
They got rid of the Invis Hunter.
Yep.
They got rid of the Revive Warlock, and they got rid of the Bubble Titan, because all 3 of those things could break the raid in certain ways.
Huh.
Yeah.
They got rid of them.
Yeah, and it's super suspicious that those are the 3 that they got rid of, and I'm like, we know what you did.
But like, I think like again, the same thing of like call outs and dialogue, like that construction is going to make soloing or 4-manning or 3-manning this raid like that much more difficult. The final encounter, I don't know how any.
We don't know because the people who do it haven't done it yet.
Yeah,
we won't know when they do it.
I'm very curious to see how they would approach it. Even like I wouldn't even know what the theory behind it would be.
No idea.
Like minimum 4 people. I guess
people are insane. People are like really insane.
I didn't know how this guy was supposed to 1-man Crota, but I watched a 1-man Crota.
True. Yeah. So I think that's gonna wrap us on the raid. Like general feelings about it. Like I know.
favorite raid still. Yeah, for sure.
This is your favorite, like Leviathan is yours? Okay.
Yep.
Just
like I know people are pissed off that there's no like mini bosses or anything like that during this one, but I love that. Like we fight bosses all the way to the raid. We don't need more bosses apart from the final boss.
Yeah, I think the intricacy makes up for it a lot for me personally.
Yeah, for sure.
I just still sometimes I'm still having Vietnam flashbacks.
I like
to the dogs.
I think I need a fresh run, and I think you do too, Cam. Of like,
I think so.
Going through it when you know and understand the mechanics. Because like I remember when I did that, I never got to do that with Vault of Glass, which still pisses me off. But I remember doing that with King's Fall and like actually taking someone through with me, and like we just did it and nailed it and killed it, like crushed it. And like, say what you will about our actual live stream of Wrath of the Machine, like being able to go through it with everyone that, or generally everyone that knew how to do it, was like really cool. And like there's a different kind of tension from that. So I think I definitely need a fresh run through because like we were fantasizing about fighting bathers like by the end of that raid. Like we were like, man, remember the fucking bathing ritual, because that was great. Because
it felt like it happened a long time ago.
Yeah, because we figured that out like on our own. So like it was both like a really gratifying moment for me as a Destiny raider to figure out any part of any raid without any help. And also to like get through it, and I want to be able to go through it and go through the motions and like understand it and be able to kind of recognize those intricacies, because watching like the Polygon team do it was like a really cool experience for me, because I was so familiar with it. So I think I need a fresh run on it before I can say, but I think on a mechanical level, this has my favorite mechanics of any of the raids for sure.
Yeah,
I would say so, outside of Satan's ass.
I like the dogs a lot. I think it's a really cool.
I wish the only boss that I would like.
You weren't you weren't on the ground.
I was on the ground first.
You don't understand what we saw down there.
True. It's all foggy.
A dog walked up, put its nose to my face, and then decided to howl. Not when it saw me. When it decided to just be like, make me think, oh, okay, it's a bug. I'm okay. We're not gonna wipe. Dink. It's like, yeah, have everybody cuss me out.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of dinks,
just
can
a
we
little
talk about
bit
how
too far.
satisfying the sound is to hit Callus's cup out of his hand?
Yeah,
it's pretty satisfying. Yeah, the team.
All right, let's and I just don't care about your opinion because it's your first raid, Alex. So no, I'm just kidding. I don't know if you had any closing thoughts as well.
Having a ton of fun with it. I just want to beat it, honestly. But I definitely see why. I feel like I finally understand Destiny.
That's good. There's an appreciation you get there, because I remember when I did Vault of Glass for the first time, I was like, oh fuck. And then I heard King's Fall was so much better, and I did really really like that. So
I just have a lot more respect for Destiny 1 players who did all the raids. You know, just because to me the game was always just like PvP, right? Mm-hmm. I got my gear. I'm just playing PvP. I'm good at this. I don't see the big deal with raids. And now I kind of see like Bungie, Bungie elevates their games in the like. I was talking to Bless about this. How, man, it's clear that the focus and what's most important to them is the in-game stuff and not the story, because there's nothing in the story that is like this encounter. Like, not even like a single thing, and that's also because it's made specifically for co-op play. But really impressed with the raid. Really love the design of it, and just kind of Bungie has impressed me with it. So I'm looking forward to the next one.
Cool. I'm actually like, again, like talking about the things that they've changed here. I'm really excited to see like what that means for other raids, especially like, you know, spoilers for Destiny 2. I think we're past that also. Like the idea that it could be, the next raid could be centralized around like a completely new enemy type.
And like, what's probably going to be Vex is the big theory.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to go back to Vex.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see, because the last time the Vault of Glass turned out to be a prison where they're keeping Atheon, and this time, like, who's to say? Well, we're going to see the Vex are so mysterious.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
The prevailing theory is that Atheon, because Anyway, we won't get into this here. I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
We'll talk about that off air.
Yeah, we got some questions to get to. So
this is early Destiny lore. So.
I'm very excited to see more Destiny.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Let's talk about what's coming up though next weekend. Oh boy.
The
Faction Wars.
The Faction Wars. Now, do we want to do questions? Do we want to do factions? What do we want to do? We're on a tight ship right now.
Do a bit of factions.
Okay.
Just a quick overlay of like what faction are.
Yeah, I'll get into that.
What's their overall? Just do like an overall like what's their purpose?
Give me the intro.
Right. So this is also going to be a shift into the lore corner.
Lore corner with Cameron Abbott.
Lore horror Cameron Abbott, yes. So essentially, for those of you who don't know, I have a list of lore topics that we'll do, and as you can see here, I pulled an Audible because I'm so excited about factions. Faction wars are essentially so when the city was formed in the first place, we're talking hundreds of years ago, because Guardians are immortal. But when the city was formed, the population started breaking up into factions. And those factions ended up going into basically a civil war over supplies and leadership and control of the community. And it wasn't until the Guardian stepped in that the speaker stepped up to kind of like organize everybody. So essentially created what's called the consensus, which is what governed the city. We don't have that right now because the city's recovering. The factions are made up of, there's several different factions within the Destiny lore, including some no longer existent, because they, anyway, we won't get into that. That's a story for another day. You have the three main factions, and the three largest factions are made up of, to the point where they have representatives in the old tower and will be coming back into the new tower. You have to be level 20 in order to access the tower, which you get by beating the main story.
You don't have to be level 20. You just have to beat the story.
Sorry, beat the story.
You become level 20 once you get to the tower.
Exactly. That's why I said that. So it is going to be something for endgame players, which is cool. So if raid wasn't your thing, this is a great moment for you to play with. So there are three main factions. They're comprised of the Future War Cult, Dead Orbit, and New Monarchy. Mm-hmm. You'll notice that they have specific color patterns. If you like purple, orange, and yellow, get ready because you're a big Future War Cult fan. If you like red and white, New Monarchy. If you like black and white and a little bit of brown, that is Dead Orbit. So breaking these three main ones down, these are the three choices that you will have. Basically, each faction has different ideas and tenets, of which they follow. And they also have a speaking part in the governing body called Consensus, which also has the Vanguard, is also a part of it, and is led by the speaker, but we don't have a speaker anymore. So the question is, like, what happens now?
I think Akora is going to be the next speaker.
Hold off on that for a second, because we know that some of the big content coming up in the first big patch is going to be for, and by patch I mean like big release next time, is about Osiris.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be the speaker, though. I think Akora is going to come the speaker, and Osiris is going to take over her spot.
Come on, anyway, let Cameron have his corner, dude. Jesus,
right, no, it's okay. Right. It's okay, because that is a topic that I would love to get into on another.
Yes.
Because I am feeling the opposite of it. But we'll get into that.
Spin-off podcast is about to get another spin-off podcast called More with Nato and Cam.
Yeah.
Don't test us. Don't test us, Alex.
Oh, yeah. Me and Cam are huge.
Just take the YouTube channel login, for fuck's sake. Go nuts. I go to sleep and tomorrow there's like 70 fucking lore videos on our goddamn YouTube channel.
Yeah, don't tempt us.
Don't tempt us. We'll do it. But yeah, there are three main factions. Future War Cult. It's very interesting because when you study the Hive and the Book of Sorrows, you learn about what's called the sword logic, which is what drives the Hive forward. Essentially, Hive all have these. We'll get into the Hive later, but they all have these things inside of them that cause them to have to seek conflict and kill things in order to sustain their life force.
Yeah, something bigger than them as well, usually.
Yep. Interestingly enough, the Future War Cult, their philosophy is we are involved in a war. It is a war for not just survival, but for existence. And meaning that we should be fighting to dominate our existence over other things. So their philosophy is very similar to the sword logic, which leads to questions because they're also super secretive. The term cult is attached to them for a reason.
Yeah, they also deal a lot with the Vex as well.
Vex. There's rumors, a lot of rumors about the Vex, and their weapons also have a little like flavor text in Destiny 1 relating to the Vex. So it's very interesting. They say that members of future war cult will actually like have themselves killed and brought back right away to try to have visions.
Yeah.
Very weird, creepy things. But they also have some of the wildest colors. So some people are fans of those. Next up is New Monarchy. New Monarchy is probably the most vanilla out of all.
Yeah.
Because they're
just
about
like their colors.
Their colors, but also their tenets are about, about the city. They're very city focused. They're like, this is our place to stand. The Traveler is a holy site, like very much dedicated towards defending the city and making the city stronger. They have one big downside.
Yeah. Super racist.
No, they're not racist actually.
Finally, for once.
Well, they sort of are, because they're all about just humanity.
Humanity. They say humanity, but it's a note a couple. One is I was going to go into about humanity,
but they're the ones that are like, if the Fallen ever join us, they're the faction that are going to hate it the most. So they technically are the racist.
There's a reason for that though, and it's not necessarily because of racism. It's because of we're literally talking about hundreds of years that humanity has lived in fear of.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more than
you get racism.
Yeah, but usually
all right, we're dropping too many truth bombs on Farm Tower right now.
We'll get into that in a little. We'll actually get into what is humanity and what makes up humanity next episode. I will want to point out that New Monarchy is about humanity as in the people who live in the city.
Yeah, they're about make the humanity great again.
No, I wouldn't put it that far, but yes, I would actually. Because their biggest tenant, their last tenant, the tenant they don't like to talk about, is that they want the consensus to abolish itself, not overthrow the consensus. They want the consensus, the ruling government of the city, to disband itself and disband the role of speaker and put in place a king, a king who cannot be questioned and who's basically is a more like of a religious authority figure than an actual like governmenting king.
Alex, if I were king of Destiny, I would declare ass to ass. Just want to share that.
Ass to mouth?
Yeah, ass to mouth. Ass to mouth.
No, ass to ass. You know what I'm talking about.
Requiem for a dream, man. Requiem for a dream.
Yeah.
Ass to ass.
Let's do it.
So the third faction is so a lot of people are like, New Monarchy, so cool and everything. They're sketchy as hell, brah. The third faction is an interesting faction because they are it's Dead Orbit. They're a faction that actually believes that like everybody coming and staying under the Traveler in the last city is a bad idea.
Yeah.
Putting all of our eggs in a single basket is a bad idea. And what we should be doing is creating a fleet. And actually, Dead Orbit's known for creating massive fleets of starships they're getting ready for interstellar travel. And their idea is, idea is to
Dead Orbit are the best. That's why anyone. God,
Dead Orbit. Not only do they have like the best color scheme, in my opinion, black and white, with a tinge of brown, which I think the brown in the new stuff that they've been showing is a little bit too strong in the color scheme, but that's neither here. You have Dead Orbit. Their philosophy is let's take little bits of like people who are volunteers. Let's take them, put them in starships, and shoot them far outside the galaxy where we know there's space.
Okay.
Let's spread out because clearly a problem was that if we're so focused in one area, we're an easy target that hitting us here will cripple humanity and wipe us out.
And what happened?
What happened? Which almost happened. If Gaul had been more thorough about wiping out all of humanity and not just focused on the Traveler,
we would have gone.
We would be gone. It's similar to the Darkness. Basically, when everybody sees the Darkness, the future cult decide they want to create a ritual, like a religion of war against it. New Monarchy wants to create a last bastion for everybody to take a last stand at. And this is from Dead Orbit's perspective.
Yeah.
Not necessarily completely 100% accurate, just their opinion.
Yeah, this is why the factions don't like each other as well. They their ideologies very clash against each other.
And but Dead Orbit's like a lot of people like Dead Orbit, but Dead Orbit has people who fight for Dead Orbit and are part of Dead Orbit who aren't going to leave the city. They don't want to leave the city, but they just believe that the best hope for humanity is spreading ourselves so far out there that wiping out one heavy population won't end humanity.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're very much focused on the idea of survival. So a lot of their gear actually has like breathing masks on it. It's really cool. But the idea is survival no matter what, and making sure we survive no matter what. So if I would not doubt it, if during the evacuation of the last city, Dead Orbit had protocols involved and said, "Hey, everybody,
get on our ships," and that's probably the reason why the Vanguard survived.
If that's revealed to be true, I'd totally believe it. Because New Monarchy isn't known for incredibly popular and having a lot of money to throw. Powerful merchants and people of wealth tend to join New Monarchy because they can get a higher position in it, but also people who are very known for being very gregarious are very open about lending their money, usually join it. However, they do get a bit stingy later, talking about that Vanguard representative from them. If you read any of his lore cards in the Grimoire. And the Future War Cult is known for just basically being a super secretive cult.
Yeah.
Interesting. I had no idea any of this stuff.
So I do want to put it out there. The cool thing about with the faction, when you join a faction in coming next week of Destiny, you join the faction and you earn points for your faction, doing things like the raid, doing things like Trials of the Nine, PvP, PvE, public events. Anything that you do in Destiny will get points for your faction.
Okay.
Now the cool thing about this is each faction has a weapon that is available to be bought after the faction war is over. That is only going to be available if that faction wins. So there's going to be a scout rifle from Dead Orbit. Hint, hint, hung jury. What up?
Yeah.
It's not hung jury, but it looks like it's a scout rifle from Dead Orbit, so it has that toss to it.
Hung jury, because hung jury. Well, for anyone that's not a Destiny 1, hung jury was one of the best scout rifles in Destiny 1, and it was Dead Orbit only scout rifle. You could only get it from Dead Orbit.
Exotic also.
It is a legendary, yeah.
It's a legendary.
So it had a lot of benefits to it. It was great. So you have a scout rifle coming from Dead Orbit. You have a pulse rifle coming from Future War Cult. And you have a sidearm coming from New Monarchy.
So of course they would give you cheap-ass sidearms.
Yeah. So these three weapons, only one of them can be made available after the faction wars. It will cost people who sided with that faction only 1,000 glimmer.
Yeah.
If you didn't side with that faction, it's available to be bought for 50,000 glimmer.
Damn.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
So, but I mean, glimmer is like cheap in Destiny. It's whatever. It's
once you get into modding, it's not.
Oh, that's true. You'll go through that pretty quickly in modding. But like the idea is basically you get a benefit for your faction winning. It's important to note that only one of the weapons will be made available. So it's important to pay attention to the meta because that's probably where people are going to be joining. I myself will be joining Dead Orbit because why do you think I wore this? Black and white, y'all.
Oh man.
Bunch of nerds.
Yeah.
Black and white.
But also I believe in Dead Orbit. Personally, when I play my Guardian, I would totally believe in Dead Orbit's philosophy.
Oh yeah.
Okay. It's cool.
Okay.
That's it for the lore corner.
Thank you for your lore corner. Let's get into some questions.
Questions?
Now you guys solicited the questions. Thank you very much for that. It's weird for me to have like co-hosts that like actually do a little bit of work. So,
well, that's the thing. We are all the hosts of like
our own side. Yeah.
I know. Again, that's why I was really excited about this project. So.
We're all hosts of our own individual podcast.
What you got? What you guys play?
Who wants to go first?
I have my questions pulled up right here that I got out.
Hit me up.
And I'm sure a lot of them are shared because, of course they are.
We're all tagged.
Yeah, we're all tagged in it, so of course it's going to be shared.
Well, I'll start. I'll got the first one up. So I'll start. Ian Preschel from Ian Why Not? Shout out to OK Beast. What's the best way to be raid ready, and what's the most effective way to get raid ready? So this is the one that I wanted to talk about the most because there's two ways to get raid ready.
We talked about one last week, but there's another
suggest you get 270. Like it will let you in at 260, but unless you're running with you are getting carried, you want your team to be a minimum 270. That's the one side. The other side is get to know your team before you go into a raid. Mm-hmm. I suggest break your raid team into 2 groups of 3s, stay in the same party chat together, and go into nightfalls together. And then swap it around. Even if you've done the nightfall already that week and got the benefits, go into the nightfall and get used to playing with people. See how people play, because people play differently. They're not all going to play the same. Some people like to be in the heat of the battle. Some people like to stay out. Some people like to talk. Some people don't like to talk. Figure these things out before you go into the raid, because as we've talked about, the raid is punishing even if you're a good team. So you want to know how people roll, who's going to, like, some people you think is, yeah, that's definitely going to be the leader. Some people even say, I'm going to be the leader. And then mid combat, those people sometimes drop off, and it's surprisingly the person, as you guys said, Trevor was the one in your guys' raid that came to the top to become the leader. The leader also doesn't need to be a person that knows it all. It's just got to be the one that people will listen to and go, okay, yeah, I'll definitely listen to what he is saying, rather than that person might know. You might have a person that has researched the raid to a point, but when it comes to the point where it's like, I need you in this part of, well, there you go.
Yeah, Nato's just describing me right now.
Yeah, I need you. Like, that person might say, I need you at this point, but then everyone's like, well, you want somebody that, like, can be trusted to lead. Like,
and it's not just about trust, it's also about like saying, I need
it's
you over here, but if the other person doesn't know where here is,
exactly,
it can be tough. So
that's what I mean. Go play these high level things together before, like, yeah, I know it's hard because people haven't got the time and stuff like that, but try and get familiar with your raid team, because even on top of that, some people like to play the raid seriously. Some people like to have fun. Some people like to do this, and
some people like to talk.
During,
you need to tell those people to shut up.
Yeah, bringing up Trevor's article, he is a person that doesn't he likes to play a lot seriously. Like, he likes to just go in and talk about what we're doing in the raid rather than chatting and chilling and stuff like that. And find people that you feel like you play similar to them, because you'll have a lot more fun. I reckon if Trevor went into a team that was not bagging on you guys at all, it's just a team that goes in and completely is focused on the raid. Like, they don't want to have fun or anything like that. They just want to do the raid.
They don't want to have fun.
Yeah.
Well, there are teams that like go out like that.
True,
and
I guess it's all about serious business.
Well, the thing is like a competition to them, and that's all. They're not in there to have fun. They want to win.
That's true.
And stuff like that. Whether their skill matches that is a whole different case. That's a different thing. It's just their mindset of they're going into this to beat it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there's ways to like shift gears and set those expectations. Like we had you call it clear comms or focus up and things like that.
Saying things like focus up and stuff like that is a beautiful way to not make it like, oi, everybody shut the fuck up and shit like that. It's just like, everyone's like, oh shit, it is that part of the raid where we got to call out symbols and stuff like that, so we can't be talking over comms at this stage. And
so getting that nailed down is pivotal.
Like I said, like I think embracing kind of creating your own jargon, and like a thing that helped us a lot with the Pleasure Gardens, which has a lot of like two top runners like directing for other characters to different parts of the map, is like, let's walk through the map together. Let me tell you, when I say go here and call it rock, like this is what I mean. This is the path I want you to take. Like, feel free to take it at your own pace. Like, is a really big thing. And lead
most of the sections after you beat the first like wave of ads that you come into will let you walk around in those areas before you actually start the actual event. Like, figure out what actually activates the event and stay away from that and walk around. As you said, the garden, you can walk around that garden for ages until you pick up the 2 items up the top to start it.
Yeah.
Like, walk through maybe your maps and stuff like that. Maps is a fun thing to always, there's hundreds of them out there. You can check out where things are, how things move.
Yeah.
Just, it's up to you how much you want to know about the raid before you go in. And even talking about your raid team of how much they want to know before it goes. Because, Alex, you like going in blind. Some people do not whatsoever like going in blind. They absolutely hate that. So just figure out your teams before you even go into a raid.
And it helps, like, you know, like we had 2 people on our team that are kind of like that leader. Like Tony and myself are both that. So like, when it came to like the 2 folks like faction off and like have to do the leading of coordination, like it helped us to have 2 people in that role. Sometimes one is better and one not. Like, you know.
Having you and Tony up top was super helpful, especially with how patient you guys were.
And like
Trevor, to specify, Trevor was the leader of the 4 down on the ground. but without the very clear direction coming from Alex and Tony.
Yeah.
Because like I'm a good leader in the moment, but I know my weakness is explaining. Like Alex has been with me. I'm terrible at fucking explain. I always think people understand what I mean when I explain stuff, but I am absolutely terrible at explaining stuff. So I like to like I've mentioned Alex, like he is like I like him there because he is good at explaining, and one of my other mates, Liam, is too. Like I'm not good at explaining, so like I take that leader role, but then I grab somebody who is good at explaining because I am fucking terrible. Like I will admit that is my weakness. I am terrible at explaining stuff, but in the moments I'm good at directing and staying calm because like I'm always I act before I think, so like I can get going where somebody would be like, what do we do? Yeah. So I'm always like, let's do this.
So communication, building a good communication network with your fellow raid mates is key. The second thing is making sure 270 is a very base level that you should be going in. Having more than one person under 270 can really hurt you at some points. And even just because it lets you go into the raid, don't take that as you being raid ready. Second thing, if you want to learn how to level to raid ready, we had one example given last episode. There's another way. There's other ways as well. There's a couple of different ways to get your power level. I've seen a lot of questions about how do I get that grind? How do I get going? The easiest way, the biggest shortcut way, is to start a new character of the same class. It's what I did to get to 292 from 284.
Actually,
so just
I
do that. That's a good way to do it.
I have a relevant question.
Yeah.
It's from @AlFighter27, Alex O'Neill on Twitter. He says, "How the fuck do I level up past 265?"
265 being the soft cap, you need legendary power gear. Power gear, legendary loot, which you get from milestones and from usually exotic.
Yeah, milestones and exotics will bump you past plateaus. So if you want to save them until the last moment during it, because those milestones will reset every week, so save those kind of things to the latest you can, and then do all them at the do events that will give you normal engrams because they are at the cap, but then go do those things that will give you, I think they're called luminous engrams when you actually pick them up. But
they say powerful gear in the milestone.
They will show you powerful gear. This is why if you get a new character, don't do any of those milestones until you have your gear from your other character in the same class level up. Another way is just to level up other characters. There's great incentive in this game to play other classes. There's great incentive to start a new character and the story again. It's really good.
My thing is I feel like I'm doing my milestones, and I feel like I'm 273 now, and I feel like I just I'm only that because I have two really powerful exotic weapons.
So around 273, 274, your engrams from vendors will start dropping 270 to 280 gear.
You just have to edge that up. It just takes time.
So I have a feeling if you get up one more point, your vendors will start dropping engrams that'll help you out as well. Okay. Just regular legendary engrams.
And a good way to do that, Alex, is also just keep working. That's the thing. It sucks. It's a grind. It's called a grind for a reason. The biggest way that I saw getting it up, doing heroic public events. Heroic public events is how you can get some good engram drops, some good gear drops. Also, keep an eye about some of the equipment that you're picking up. If it's dropping at 270 something early on, then it looks like, oh, well, this is lower than what I have. Check anyway to see if you can infuse it into what you have, because sometimes your gear has the mods on it. Legendary mods, they give it a +5. If it is a legendary mod and it gives you a plus, and this is a big thing to keep on, because it's happened to me. I think, man, I'm not getting any better here, and I go into my thing, happen to bump over infuse, and I see I have 3 pieces of gear that I can infuse into this. And it's important to note that the +5 mod that you get doesn't raise its base light level. So you could have something that is at I had something that said, oh, I'm at 283 light. And I'm like, well, I have something that's already 283. It wasn't 283. It was 278.
With the +5 mod.
With the +5 mod. So all of a sudden I infuse that and it bumps it up to 288. And I'm like, I had a couple of those happen to me when I made that realization. So always keep an eye on and double check to make sure your equipment can't be infused by anything you already have.
So
don't just dismantle it because you're set that it's not higher than you want it to be. Because sometimes it is the higher gear.
I will try that. I'd rather be 280 when I go into the raid tomorrow. But
I understand.
We
can work on that.
We are really tight on time, so let's one last question, and then we will.
I have one last question here. It is from Chase Williams at Chase on Twitter. It says, "Yo, I mainly play PvP and Destiny, and while I find competition, I feel the game pace is a little slow. I think this to compensate for potential lag across large gamer base, but it sometimes feels like it creates an artificial skill ceiling. What are your thoughts?" But Chase, it's not a slowdown on Bungie's side; it's a slowdown in player side. Yeah. What we have right now going on in the meta right now is a pretty big controversy. We were probably going to get more into it, but because we're so tight in time, we probably won't have the time to. It's a question of a current exotic out right now called Mida Multi-Tool.
No, it's not even that. I'll go even further back to Destiny 1, where the whole point of Destiny 1 was they wanted to do a team-based shooting, and we figured out ways to break Destiny 1 to make our characters so fast that now Destiny 2 seems slow because they got rid of like Titan skating and all those.
That's true. And there's a lot of things that they took out like that.
Yeah.
But there's also a heavy emphasis right now on distance shooting and cross shooting from distances.
It's because Bungie wanted team shooting is their biggest priority in PvP. That's how they want 100%. People to play that game. And when you get a field where they want team shooting, you're going to slow down as a single player trying to kill an enemy because they want you to team shoot to win. So it's nothing to do with them trying to slow it down for lag and all that. It's because that's what they tried to do with Destiny 1. And then they got to a point that they got so far into it that it was so hard to fix. They would have to make a new game. And
I also think just like Bungie shooters are generally like slower, like in their DNA.
Yeah.
Like Halo is a slow shooter. It has been. That didn't stop it from being like one of the first MLG games, of all time. Like
it's
Walshy and them,
current PvP is about methodical processing, methodical movement. If you are a player that prefers to be up in people, you can do that. Gear yourself up for it. If you see people are using Mida and you want to be a player that's up in people's faces, don't equip Mida.
Yeah,
equip SMG, auto rifle, sidearms. Really focus on that. They made sidearms super powerful this time around.
Yeah,
to help people compensate for wanting to be closer range, especially since they took away shotguns and made them power ammo based. Right now, there's two really heavy meta games going on. Range meta game where you're seeing a lot of scout rifles.
Shoulder to shoulder firing squad is the main strategy because it's high, it's low risk,
long range, shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
Also, if you're wanting more fast-paced gameplay, play quick play because those game modes are set up to be more fast-paced. They're kill confirmed, they're team deathmatch, they're domination.
Even go into trials. Trials will speed everything up tenfold.
I said the meta right now for trials is still Mida.
Trials is still that search and destroy, so it's very methodical.
Right now you're seeing a very early meta game where everybody's best gun that they're getting from a very easy to do quest is a weapon that compensates people for being longer range and being more they're shooting.
Yeah. And I will say if you can get into that mid range and have like a pulse rifle like the graviton lance
you'll crush a Mida.
Oh yeah.
The moment you get mid range to close range, you can crush the long range players, but you have to learn the map and you have to learn how to and if they are teamed up, if you see this is no longer a game where if you see two people bunched up, I got you bros, I got you all of you. It's no longer that way because they will take you out in a second because they're all firing at once. Especially when you have a Mida and you can hear the other Midas, so you know how to do that pace rate. So that's really what's going right now, Chase. It's not you. It's not Bungie slowing things down for lag. It is literally just the meta right now. We will see that change when we see new weapons drop. When we get weapons coming in from the raid, we will see that change.
How to use a short-range weapon even better than a Mida, and will absolutely. I've already listened to like 4 different higher top range Destiny podcast, and they've already even suggested other scout rifles that are even better than Mida.
Wait,
there's a couple of
Nato, are you suggesting there is a better Destiny podcast than ours?
We just started. That's all I'm saying.
No, all I'm saying is you are a quitter.
I was listening to them.
He's getting research. He's getting research.
Yeah, I'm getting research.
Number 1 locally sourced Destiny podcast out there.
Absolutely. Exactly. Farm to Tower.
Yes. But saying that
Yeah.
these ones are more PvP based. That's why I listen to them. There's about 4 different scout rifles that are even better on the first 50-50 engage that you'll do in trials on competitive maps that will outpace MITRE tenfold. So people are already shouting to nerf the MITRE.
It does right now. The concern about nerfing it, I don't think should be how quickly you can get that gun. But at the same time, maybe they don't. Like, it's really, we're too early in the game. Yeah. MITRE is definitely a problem because of how many people are using it. But that will change as people get more.
How many people have it?
Yeah,
that
the population
gets rid of this. Everybody has it. You can get it from a mission, so it incredibly skews the data that people are receiving at the moment.
So I think Bungie will probably not nerf it for a while. Just expect growing pains. This is early PvP. We're week 3 PvP right now. Week 3, in the middle of week 3.
Just expect it this way.
We're getting there.
When you go against your opponent, you have a better understanding of what they're going to use. So you know the strategies of what they're going to use. So it's going to be easier to form counter strategies and anti-meta stuff at the moment because you know people are going to be using MITRE. So find things you've
use your side
figured
channels
out
to get to the map and crush them. It's
easier than what it's going to be later, where the meta is going to open up incredibly, and you're going to have no idea what you're going to be going against. So enjoy time now, where you know what people are going to be using.
We knew there would be growing pains, and it's not just the raid growing pains; it's everything with Destiny 2.
It's also like the big switch from 6 to 4 and everything. So
that's accurate too. But you don't have as many people to shoot, and 4 is a much friendlier for squad shooting than it is for a 6-person shooting.
Yeah.
So expect it. It's slowed down, but it's not Bungie. It's the players.
Yeah. Okay. Let's close this bad boy out because I really have to pee. Thank you. I mean, guys, I'm used to doing 5-hour podcasts, but there's 6 breaks for me to just go pee. Those are what the IP breaks are for. It's literally Alex's pee break is what it says in the Google Doc. Thank you.
Oh, quick shout out. I will be playing it on PC when it launches.
Yeah, same here.
I won't, because I'm not a fucking weirdo.
No, you'll be getting it on Xbox.
You have it
with us.
I know. I'll get it on Xbox when it comes out on PC, and I'll play with Alex Van Aken still.
Yeah.
Shout out to my panelists here. Thank you all, as always. You're wonderful. And Nato, we couldn't get you on the inaugural episode, but obviously, you are a part of the Farm to Tower family.
I'll be on any episode that's not on a Sunday night.
Yeah, which I don't know if they will be anymore. So hopefully we don't have to worry about that. And here I thought I wouldn't end up doing a multi-hour long podcast on a Saturday night ever again. Here we go. Thank you, Cameron, host of Naughty Gamers podcast you can go listen to out there at Unsexiest Comedy on Twitter. Thank you to Nato, host of 4 Yanks, 1 Aussie, also A+ Anime, which you can find on okbeast.com, 4yanks1aussie.com, using the number 4, and the 1, number 1, in that URL.
Listen to these professionals.
At NatoJ18 on Twitter, just dropping hot, sexy beats from Australia. Thank you to my fellow Alex Van Aken, at It's Van Aken, host of Pixel Pulse Radio, The Boy, OK Beast, dropping it, shebang, doing this weird hand gesture that I don't understand.
This is the new thing.
It's
what
the
the new thing.
Doing.
This is what the Destiny kids are doing
This
now.
is what the people that are too old to be cool think is cool now.
No, if you do this, it's because this is what Cool Greg showed us. Always do this.
You need like really long rings that say your name on them though. I've been your moderator, Alex O'Neill. I'm at Alfighter27. Obviously, I host many a podcast out there on this very YouTube channel that this is on. We still I don't have a way to throw out this show. Has anybody got any ideas?
Throw out the show?
Yeah, like a good kiss your dad, square on the lips, play your game, stay rational. What do you say at the end?
Look, don't know. Look, let's not force it. It'll come
It'll come
Crush
in
the
time.
competition, Guardians, and stay frosty.
All right,
Oh,
nothing
Jesus.
like that lame.
Nothing that Shaq says.
Yeah, nothing that Shaq would say to you.
I tell everyone you're my
We
favorite
have
son.
become legend.
Become legend. Stop being a little baby, Leviathan. Let's
Leviathan out.
No, I've got it, guys.
All right, hit us.
Keep it organic. Keep it fresh. And we will see you, Guardians, next time.
Oh.